Now, our headline tonight. Goldman Sachs owes you $10. Seriously, they do. During the bailout, a lot of the banks got what were called backdoor bailouts, where taxpayer funds would get funneled to them through AIG, which is the giant insurance company that capsized. At the time, Goldman claimed that they were just passing that money on to their clients and that the whole economy would go down if their clients didn't get paid. Now we find out that they kept nearly $3 billion of taxpayer money for themselves. That's about $10 for every man, woman, and child in the country. Think about that for a second. You had to take money out of your taxpayer dollars and give it over to the richest bankers in the country who caused the collapse in the first place. Reuters reports today, quote, Goldman Sachs capitalized on the government bailout of American International Group to get even more payments from the beleaguered insurer, including $2.9 billion from proprietary trades Goldman placed for its own profit. So Goldman Sachs was supposed to distribute the bailout funds to their clients, and in the process, they distributed $2.9 billion into their own coffers. And Goldman clearly needed it, given that in 2009, in the wake of the crisis, Goldman Sachs posted more than $13 billion in profit. And that was after paying out more than $16 billion in compensation, much of it in bonuses. So they kept $3 billion of your money in the middle of making record profits for themselves. By the way, who was the guy who made the decision to pay Goldman on behalf of the government? Well, that would be then Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson, who was the former head of Goldman Sachs. What a wonderful coincidence. Now, this Goldman booty is one of the many infuriating revelations in a landmark report released by the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission today. But it's just the tip of the iceberg. Here's the headline from Phil Angelides, chairman of the commission.
We concluded first and foremost that this crisis was avoidable.
I love that, man, because everyone likes to pretend that it was like a natural disaster that couldn't be avoided. There was nothing we could do. No one could have seen it coming. Jamie Dimon talks about, oh, these things happen every 7 years or so. What can we do? Well, you might want to take a couple of steps to prevent it. Now, listen to the commissioner explain how all of that is total nonsense.
This crisis was avoidable. Despite the expressed view of many in the circles of financial and political power that the crisis could not have been foreseen, there were many, many warning signs that were ignored or discounted. Let us be clear. This calamity was the result of human action, inaction, and misjudgment, not of Mother Nature or computer models gone haywire.
The commission explained that when we deregulated the banks and hoped that they wouldn't take huge risks, that was an enormous mistake. And by the way, a mistake we continue to make since financial reform didn't change that at all. And that leads me to my conclusion tonight. Look, this is a bipartisan problem. There's no question that Bush and his Treasury Secretary were the ones who deregulated and did the original TARP bailout in the first place. Everybody knows that. But the Obama administration has continued to pretend that there's no problem. The current Treasury Secretary, Tim Geithner, was the one who went along with the backdoor bailout to Goldman, again, in the first place when he was the head of the New York Fed. President Obama literally couldn't have found anyone more guilty of the bailout unless he renominated Paulson. In my opinion, the bankers and the government combined to rob us blind. This report explains exactly how they did that. But there's one thing we can do. We can, at the very least, ask for our $10 back. I got a family of 3, so that'd be $30 coming my way. Goldman literally took nearly $3 billion out of taxpayer money and put it in their pocket. There shouldn't be a liberal, a conservative, or a moderate in the country who should stand for that. We invited conservatives and Tea Party officials on the show today to talk about this outrage. And remember that this is the anger of the bailouts was the reason that the Tea Party got started in the first place. But somehow they couldn't make it on the show. I don't know if that's because their leadership has already been co-opted by the banks and big business, or if it's because they just didn't have time today. But I want to continue to extend that invitation to them. You've got to join us in a true bipartisan fight to help get taxpayer money back for all of us. This is something the whole country should agree on.